Down at the bottom left, we have our first Protoss player in the second game today at the GSL Code A in the first round. First Protoss now mirror match. It is
Wongjin Stars Fly.
One of the most popular Casper players to switch to StarCraft 2 because of his success.
Struggling a little bit in the PvP lately. Top right, we have his opponent in blue, a former Slayers player. This is King.
Hustle.
Not a king just yet, but on his way.
Very young player. The true story of a ladder nerd becoming a pro gamer.
He looked a little bit like a hamster.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Like a very eager hamster. Looked really determined here.
Yeah.
Really motivated.
Exactly.
So,
and I mean, I really have to just continue to stress this guy is the story of a guy who sits in his room, playing the ladder games all day, getting there, you know, making it, winning enough games. He got a personal sponsorship from Razer. That's why this guy, you used to see him on ladder with the tag Razer in front of his name, just because he was so good he could get a personal sponsorship from playing at his house. And then he joined Slayers eventually. Now he's playing alone again, but he just doesn't give up. There's no lack of determination ever from this guy.
this is going to be a really interesting game, not only because of the side story, but also because we have two really upcoming Protoss players here. Well, calling flying upcoming is probably the wrong term here, but in PvP, as mentioned earlier, he's struggling a little bit. He's much better in his Protoss versus Terran. This is where he excels, but against Protoss in the past, struggling a bit. Might have to overcome that obstacle today if he wants to advance to the second round of Code A, but has already a very, very fast cybernetics score in comparison to Arthur, who loses a couple of seconds here.
Yeah. But he went double gas before even the second pylon, so he's going to have a pretty massive gas lead. It's going to really start to stack up here.
Yeah, I can already see that happening.
Yeah.
So the gas very, very early for him, and we're going to find out what kind of tech choice he's going to supply with this much gas.
With this really fast gas,
Stargate?
I could see either Stargate or a bit extremely DTs. One of the two. It really seems to make sense.
Stargate would definitely be the build that we see more often on Daybreak, but DTs is something that can definitely blindside your opponent.
I was just going to say, he has a second gate as well, so that's kind of weird for either of these builds, you know?
I really want to see what Arthur does. I mean, Arthur has a little bit of a different style here. For flying right now, we have the second gas also completed. The scout goes for Arthur though. Flying refuses to send out scout at all. There's nothing. And goes into Robo, which is something that Arthur is going to see right now. So DT is definitely very unlikely at this point.
Yeah. In fact, yeah, I can't believe he was able to see that. And that's how fast that Robo is. There's the Stargate, as you predicted. It's a good build for this map, I feel. Yeah,
Creator played it so much last year, WCS Korea, with the double sentry opening usually. First sentry is already on the way. And Arthur is now in this very good position where he knows what's going on. Flying doesn't have scouting information, so he's like, and he's going to lose his Stalker if he isn't careful here. And he knows it.
You know, if they had both stayed like that, they would have both died. And Arthur could have tried to do some more damage there, but I like Flying's choice to back off. It's funny because even though Arthur gets the first shot, the distance it takes would give Flying the opportunity to fire that final shot and they both die. Alright, I think we're going to see Phoenix, obviously, there it is. No one's using Void Rays, not in Wings of Liberty anyways.
Yeah, that's something that is reserved for Heart of the Swarm.
Yep. I'm so glad that we can talk about this GSTL being on Heart of the Swarm now. I've been waiting to tell people about this for forever.
Yeah, exactly, but we weren't quite sure when exactly what's going to happen and how it would turn out. So I'm pretty happy that it is finally announced. It's going to be very interesting, given that it's still a beta, but that's why we have a pre-season tournament and not the regular season starting just yet. A lot of things in the beta that are still where people experiment, but a lot of those pros are now switching full-time to Heart of the Swarm.
Yeah, and that's why this is so exciting, because this is going to be the first tournament that's in a live thing. Yeah, we have MLG qualifiers going on right now on Heart of the Swarm, but this is a live, in-booth setting. Like, this is the first LAN on Heart of the Swarm that we will have.
Arthur now wants to really commit to this. He has those Phoenixes, but he also has the gateways to support them. So the idea is to pick up the sentries and just bully the way up the ramp. And he could pull that off, but so far we are flying with a very nice unit control and a very good position also for his units.
It's going to be very critical to pick up that Immortal to neutralize the damage output it has. You can even start to pick off the pylon on the high ground with the Stalkers. This is a really scary timing attack for Arthur, but I feel like Flying is basically set up to defend. Does not cancel his Nexus. He really wants to... I don't think
he can save it. if there's good force field, and there it is. Now he can try to get the Stalkers. Really well done.
I think not canceling was a mistake. He had it selected when it finished.
Yeah, the Nexus is gonna die. With another force field, he will be able to break down the Nexus. He even goes to the back and tries to pick up those Stalkers, damages them already, but here goes the Nexus, bye-bye, whereas Flying is now trying to go into Twilight Council.
Yeah. I think he's just going to try to go for the kill here. Good force fields by both players. He needs to pick up that Immortal, though. It's doing a massive amount of damage. He goes for the Stalker instead, but he doesn't quite kill it.
Yeah, he wants to make sure that those Phoenixes are still alive. Flying is a little bit ahead in overall supply. In regards to the Harvesters, Arthur has a small lead, but he didn't start his expansion just yet. We have the probe at the top right. The big problem is that there's also a pylon that we have now, and there are Zealots in the main base.
Yeah, he used that pylon, runs in here to the main base. Nice defense by Arthur, but this weakens his attack, of course. He wants to have Warpins at the front. And with the second round of Warpins for Flying, actually, he could fight this, and he will. This is going to force Arthur to finally turn around. He can't keep up his contain with this many Warpins.
Well, he currently has at least those Stalkers that can land a lot of damage, but the problem is he needs to micro
He'll have
them.
to micro perfectly, and he's not doing it so far.
Actually, he started to micro really well right there.
And that was a Warpin for Flying that was not as cost efficient. Arthur is going into the better tech, though. Blink is coming out for Flying, which is good against Phoenixes, you know, when you think about it, just Stalker versus Phoenix for the late game. Oh, he's a micro that Stalker! He could actually kill every single Zealot if he does.
Yeah, Arthur for a second really screwed this up. He didn't see what was going on because he was occupied at the bottom left. So Flying was the one paying attention to the Zealot fight, microing his Zealots a lot better. This is so cool. We have like players that need to macro it up like crazy. The multitasking here is insane. Phoenix is doing damage. At the top right suddenly we have those Zealot attacks. And this is such an intense game between both of them. The force field at the bottom left is good. He retreats with his units, but Arthur needs to pay attention to the top right. And now with the Stalker and the Phoenixes, he's going to be fine.
Yep, picks up the Zealot. Easily done there. And Flying now finds himself with Blink here with a really nice timing he can try to use with the Immortal and a few Blink Stalkers. Arthur needs to get his own Immortals up. He's actually supply blocked right now.
You know, Arthur had the chance to go into an expansion play. This is why we had the probe to the top right, but with the pylon for Flying, it was completely cancelled out.
Yeah.
So even though Arthur at the beginning had the better position, killing the Nexus actually of his opponent, he could not capitalize on it as much as he wanted to. He's still in a decent position here, but he wanted to be in a different spot. He wanted to have a third already, and now Flying comes up with this huge army.
He needs to make sure he picks up the Immortal this time. He absolutely cannot afford to mess up his micro here. The Phoenixes need to pick up the Sentries and the Immortal.
That probe suddenly left completely alone. At first was accompanied by all those Stalkers, and then the Stalkers blink away. The probe is like, hey, wait a second, guys.
I feel like Arthur is going to get further ahead in this game if Flying does not hit this. If he gets delayed again one more time, then I don't see him being able to do this.
Arthur's already getting his expansion now.
Yeah, he is, and he's got 2 Immortals now. Good force fields. Where are the Sentries? He needs to pick up the Immortal, I feel, but the Immortal's not even able to fire right now, so...
He has 2 Immortals. Arthur, that is, against 1 Immortal.
Yeah,
Flying
and he's
is in
picking up
trouble.
the Stalker so fast, and Flying is in a ton of trouble. Look at the Immortal able to fire on everything he wants.
No chance
way
whatsoever. Look at this. Immortals moving in. Arthur with his expansion as well. It's just going for it. And Flying is losing supply. Losing the Immortal is being picked up already.
The Immortal is bored for Arthur. He's like, what can I shoot at? Everything's dead.
GG! Arthur doing it. Wow, very impressive play here.
Extremely, really well done. You know, being able to not only defend against the Zealots at the bottom, which he had some shaky moments on, but at the very end of the day, you know, they didn't do a lot of damage. Then also be able to kill some probes with his Phoenixes. And Flying realized at that moment in time, he's got way more probes than me. He's going to be the one taking the Nexus. If I take a Nexus, I don't even get as much return on it as he will, so I have to attack. The attack, though, was delayed. He waited to kill the rocks, and Flying had the second Immortal, having those Phoenixes there as well.
Arthur didn't crown himself the king just yet, but he's definitely short of being knighted here.
Yeah, I'm just so impressed with his multitasking in his play that game.
Yeah. Flying's nickname is not Mordred.
Not quite. But by Merlin's beard, we will see a game on Whirlwind SE coming in here, and that's when things are going to get a little bit more late game, most likely.
Royalty is present.
We'll find out if Flying can pull a sword out of the rock first.
I want to have a shot of Arthur again. To me, he's like the king of hamsters now.
Yeah.
You know, we had Gollum, and now we have suddenly... I mean, I don't want to make too much fun of Arthur, but it looked really funny earlier.
Well, I mean, he's young. You know, his body hasn't matured yet. It's true.
It looked really funny earlier. But he played very, very well. And we are jumping into game number 2 on Whirlwind now. And let's see if Arthur can close this with the 2-0. Played very well on game number 1.